Well, that's all I'm going to jabber on here. We're at 7:07, so I'm going to turn it over to BJ Attarian. Colin was going to be here, but he's under the weather a little bit. And this is a very needed topic, foul recognition and the various levels of fouls. Um, I would definitely get into the rule book and know what the 10 fouls are. I got to review that frequently. I don't know if I can name all 10 of them right, like boom, boom, boom right now. But knowing the rules, knowing the fouls that you call or that are supposed to be called is an important part of it. But so I'm going to turn it over to BJ. Thanks so much for being here and presenting this. I'm looking forward to it.
No worries. Hello, everybody. And as Jay said, Colin is unfortunately not feeling well, so he is not going to be with us here tonight. This is a presentation on fouls, how we call the foul, what some of these fouls are, and we're just going to go over some clips. A lot of this might be a review, how we give a card. We'll go over that too. And then we'll, like I said, we'll have some clips, and then I've got some fun foul questions at the end and also a chance for a prize at the very end too. So we'll dive right in here. Dive right in once I start clicking. What is a foul? So a foul can only be committed by a player. It has to be on the field of play, and it has to be while the ball is in play. And like I said, here at the bottom, they can only be awarded for offenses committed while the ball is in play. So remember that part as we start getting into clips and some of these questions a little bit later on. Types of fouls. So there are two primary types of fouls. You have your direct free kick and indirect free kick. In the chat, like I said, this is a review too. Which one of these can result in a goal being scored directly from the kick? It's in the name, right? Yeah, directly from the kick, direct kick. Exactly. Good. We're really not going to deal much with indirect kicks here tonight. I have this slide in here just to say this is why we would award an indirect kick. Obviously, offside, but insofar as how our fouls are concerned, playing in a dangerous manner, dangerous play. Uh, Blocking the opponent, in other words, obstruction. If you don't actually make contact, though, because then you're getting into charging or maybe pushing or one of the direct kick ones. Preventing the goalie from releasing the ball or attempting or kicking the ball while the goalie has possession. Descent. And then this one about everyone knows about the trying to deliberately circumvent passing back to the goalie. Well, that would be an indirect free kick, too. And then the last bullet on here, anything else that there's not a law for, but we have to give a caution, we would go ahead and resume with an indirect free kick. So for the most part, we're done with indirect free kicks for tonight, and we're going to talk about direct kicks and what types of things can result in leading to a direct kick. And there's an important word on the screen right now, attempts. So even if you don't make contact on a kick, but you attempt to kick, it's a direct kick. Tripping or attempt to trip, same type of thing. Obviously, jumping at an opponent, charging, striking or attempt to strike, and that's probably going to lead to a red card just even by these images. Oh, that's rough. Pushing, tackling. Now, extra points if you know the team in black because I can't see their jersey. Put it in the chat if you think you know the team. I'm a big West Coast fan. That's the team on the left. Not this type of tackling, obviously. This type of tackling in soccer. And this would also, just judging by that, looks like, all right, that's probably going to be a red card, right? Because that looks like maybe even excessive force in the drawing. So no one got the other team. I'm looking in the chat. So how do we call a foul? So let's review that part first. I have a clip here from U.S. Soccer.
The signal for a direct free kick is the same as for a throw-in. Its purpose is to establish which team has possession of the ball for the restart, and accordingly, once this is understood by the players, the arm is lowered. The arm is raised and extended at a 45-degree angle with the fingers held together.
So how we call a foul is pretty much the same way how we call a throw-in for a direct kick. Indirect kick, like I said, we're not going to really talk about. Hand up, And you keep your hand up. Okay, so one thing about an indirect kick, you put your hand up to indicate it's an indirect kick, but if you're out of position, don't run with your hand up. Bring your hand down, get in position, put it back up. More times, like offside, we signal for offside, and then we have to get to the drop zone. So we don't run with our hand up like this. We bring our hand down, we get to where we need to be, and then we put it back up. But for a direct kick, it's pretty much like calling a throw in.
The signal for a
So how do we call a foul? So first thing is we decide that we have a foul. If in the opinion of the referee, if you think it's a foul, you've made that decision, the next thing you do is you're going to blow your whistle, right? Indicate the direction, and if we need to, the location. Pretty much everyone's going to know where the location is for most of our fouls because they see what's happening. Most of our fouls on the ball. But what about selling it? How do we sell a foul? So I've got a clip here from Ray, who is another instructor, and he's in our area. So if you get to work with Ray, great knowledge. Let's listen to what he has to say here.
You tell me which one looks better. Go this way or like this? Good. So head up, body, your body language says a lot. This is convincing. This is like, maybe we're going that way. But this says, hey, we're going this direction, okay?
In other words, confidence. Even if you're not sure of the foul, if you're going to blow it and act like you're confident about it because you're going to sell your call. You're going to maybe get some buy-in from players when you do that too. So like Ray said, if you don't look indecisive, if you have a foul, if you have to run to the spot of the foul, maybe it's a hard foul. Okay, you get in there, you blow your whistle. Don't blow your whistle with lack of confidence. Blow it. Okay, and then boom, you give the direction if we need to. So in the chat, tell me, do we have to call every foul? What do you think? Do we have to call every single foul? See, I see Addie saying depends on the severity. Yeah, that's definitely true. Every single foul. Well, have you heard the express? You can play advantage. That's true. Have you ever heard the expression of did the game need it? So I see Chloe saying no. Have you heard of letter in the spirit? Those are two big. I've thrown out three. So the flow of play and skill level from Roe. Yeah, I've thrown out three phrases so far. And TJ, exactly to that. I'm going to come back to your point about game management. If, in the opinion of the referee, letter in the spirit, letter of the law versus the spirit of the game, and that really kind of encompasses did the game need the call. There's a clip, Carlos, you shared with the clip, and I use this in our referee class where keeper made a stop and it was a great save. And one of his defenders came down and went to pat him on the shoulder, and the keeper's laying on the ground. He missed the shoulder and hit the ball that the keeper was laying on. And the next thing we see, we have a penalty kick. That's the letter in the spirit. Letter of the law said, yeah, that's a penalty kick. Nobody wants that called. Neither team wants that called for sure. So that's what they talk about when they hear letter in the spirit. But now back to TJ's point, is there a time where we do want to call every foul that we see? What do you think? And TJ's already answered the question in the chat. Exactly, Ro, to keep the game under control. What happens if all of a sudden you've got a lot of pushing, shoving, a lot of bickering, a lot of complaining, and we just need to slow the game down? Well, we can call every foul in that case because you're using it as part of your game control. And as TJ put in the chat, game management. So that'll come as part of your referee toolbox over the course of years. There might be times where, you know what, we really don't need to call this foul, like the handball on the defender when the keeper's got the possession of the ball. But there might be times where this game is starting to get a little bit chippy and we just need to slow things down to keep the game under control. And in that case, yeah, it'll probably make a lot of sense to start calling more fouls. So that said, there are times when we are going to need to give a card. And we just taught Jay and Carlos were just talking about this. I'm going to show this clip and then I'm going to give a couple of thoughts on it. Let's first watch the clip.
There are two basic scenarios for displaying a card for misconduct. The standard approach is to collect information from the player to be carded, and then, while standing at least an arm's length away, to raise an arm straight upward while holding the card by the thumb and one or more fingers so that the card is clearly visible. The other scenario used is when the referee decides there is a danger of retaliation, violence, or further misconduct if action is not taken immediately. In this case, the card is shown in the same way as in the standard scenario, but as quickly as possible, perhaps even while in the process of approaching the player guilty of misconduct, and only afterward is the necessary information gathered before play is restarted. Anytime a red card is displayed, the action should be followed by a gesture which clearly indicates that the player must leave the field. If a player is issued a yellow card for the second time in the game, the referee puts the yellow card away after displaying it, and only then is the red card displayed. U.S. Soccer recommends that referees keep yellow and red cards in separate pockets so they can be quickly retrieved without fumbling, dropping, or wasting time to check that the correct color card has been pulled.
As a referee, how many yellow cards should you have on you during the game? What do you think? At least one, right? But what do you think? Nobody. You should have
Two would be a good number.
you should have 17 yellow cards on you at all times. No, you need to have two, like Jay said, two of each. Now, why? Okay, well, you heard in the clip there, there are times you're going to want to give the card fast. And you need to have access to the card fast. There are other times you might want to slow it down, or you might lose a card during a game. It's been known to happen. So usually you have the red card. Maybe in your data wallet you have a yellow and red card. That's one place. And in that scenario, you take out your data wallet, you write all the information down, and you give the card. But the other place you should have a card for the red card is in your back pocket. And you've probably seen officials or maybe assistant referees at higher games pat their back pocket. They're indicating, hey, this is a red. And the yellow card should be in your front pocket. So in the yellow card there, like you heard in the clip, if I need to get this card out in a hurry, I can grab into my my front pocket and grab that yellow card. And you heard the clip say sometimes you take the card out maybe even as you're running. Yeah, that's possible. The other thing you could do as part of game control is, let's say you had a hard foul and you're going to give a yellow card. Everyone knows you're going to give a yellow card. Before you even administer the yellow card, you have it out and you're just holding it in your hand. You see a lot of referees do that. In fact, I have a clip in a minute of Ted Uncle doing just that. Now, a couple things I want to bring up about that clip we just saw. And I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to spotlight so everyone sees me. Is that a good way to give a card? What do you think in the chat? No, right? We've already got a guy or a girl who's going to be penalized. We don't need to antagonize them by putting it right in their face, above your head. That's the first thing. Not here, arm straight up. I know you can't see the red card up there, but it's up there. The important part is the arm straight up. The other thing is, how close should I be? Should I be right in their face when I'm doing this? There's a clip from a US Open Cup. Yeah, at least, Addy, arm's length, right? There's a clip from a US Open Cup several years ago where the referee gave Clint Dempsey a card, but the referee was standing too close. And Dempsey grabbed the card and threw it to the ground. Okay, you don't want to be that close. So I see Rose saying 4 to 6 feet. Yeah, you want to be at least arm's length, like Addy said. And then the last part about it, that clip that we just saw, did you see every one of those referees? They're real mean and you don't need to do that. Again, you're antagonizing. Everyone sees you have the card. Just raise your hand up above your head. You don't need to show it, to show, hey, I'm giving you a red card. We see it's a red card. Just hand above your head. So, from all of that to say, you want to have 2 of these, one in your back pocket, probably one in your data wallet, 2 yellows, one in your data wallet, one in your front pocket. And it's kind of standardized where you put it. Front pocket, yellow, back pocket, red. Just kind of standardize that all referees, that's kind of where they carry it. And I have a good example, like I said, in a minute. We don't need to forcefully show the card. Any questions on any of that so far? Well, I am resharing. So we're going to be focusing on direct kicks, like I said. And really we have 3 types. We have just a careless foul. We have a foul that might be reckless. And then we have another type of foul that might have excessive force. We're going to look at each one of those with some clips here. So first, a careless foul. You know, the funny part was when Colin and I were pulling this presentation together, every week we watch MLS highlights and we pull fouls. Every week we pull fouls. And we couldn't find any for careless fouls because it's just a run-of-the-mill foul and they don't make the highlights. The highlights are going to be the hard fouls. They're easy to find, right? But just careless fouls are just the stuff that happens during the game. Maybe it wasn't even the player didn't mean to foul and it just kind of happened. With the careless foul, do I need to give a card? What do you think in the chat? Is it required to give a card for the careless foul? And Chloe says no, and it's not. That doesn't mean you can't give a card, but it's not required to give a card. So what do some of these fouls look like? So, and a lot of these clips are pretty fast, so I play them a couple times. Let's play this first one. He bumped him. And by the way, what's the telltale sign that he really did foul him? I didn't do it. Put my arms up, right? No foul there. Just a careless foul. He didn't probably even mean to do it. He gave us a sign that he did it, but he probably didn't mean to do it. It happens. Let's look at another one. And these kind of go in escalation here. It's a trip. It's not malicious. It's down below the ankle. It's just kind of one of those things. It happens. This one, though, tell me what you think about this clip. It happens on the right side of the screen. We're going to see it multiple times. What do we think on that one? See, he was pushing a little. Yeah, maybe. How about the kicking? This is borderline here. If we could get away with reckless, but this or careless, but we could also maybe go with a little reckless, because we're going to look at the definition of reckless here in just a second, and you'll see why. And then what we'll do after we look at excessive force, I'll give you a little bit of a guideline. And some of our experienced referees, if you want to chime in on some other things to potentially think about when you're trying to decide, hey, is this a careless foul, reckless foul, or a foul with excessive force? So yeah, so this one's right there at the edge of being a careless foul, maybe being pushed over to excessive foul, if in the opinion of the referee. In my opinion, we're right at the edge there. Let's keep going and talk about reckless fouls. So acting with disregard to or for consequence, to the danger or consequences of the opponent. Do we have to give a card for a reckless foul? What do we think? So I see Addie with a note. Thank you for answering, Addie. Anyone else have a thought? For a reckless foul. Depends on the foul. So Zachary says. Yeah, it also depends on what you're classifying it as. Generally, for a reckless foul, we're going to give a caution. So careless foul, yeah, it depends. Nothing is required. Reckless foul, if we deem it a reckless foul, we need to go ahead and give the caution. But to Zachary's point, and Addy, depends on the foul. Maybe we think this is more of a careless foul and not a reckless foul. But if we're going to say it's a reckless foul, we need to go ahead and give the yellow card. So let's look at a couple of reckless fouls and see if we can tell the difference between what we just saw with the careless fouls and now these clips here. Let's get it to play.
Put it. Morales says it's leg for leg with him. Betcher, it's leg for leg with Toy Shirt.
Oh, yellow card. It's coming out.
Put it. Morales says it's leg for leg with him. Betcher.
Just really cool. I paused it right at the right time, didn't I? Notice also the way the referee gives the card.
Put it.
Oh.
Put it. Morales says it's leg for leg with him. Betcher, it's leg for leg with Toy Shirt.
Oh, yellow card.
I zoomed in. You can't see where he gives the yellow card. I have a better clip in a second. But you see he went right for the yellow card there. Now, the other thing you could be thinking, well, maybe that was stopping promising attack. And you have to give a yellow card for that too. Not really with what was going on with the play and how it was developing. There he gave the card for a reckless foul. Let's look at this one.
People will bet against them to at least win one trophy. Nuhu coming in, and this is going to be a stern combo from Filip Dujic. Got a hold of Kerwin Vargas, who is the guy who really comes into the lineup, Dunny, with Wilfred Zaha traveling.
Yeah, the U22 initiative player out of Colombia comes in, gets that first touch, and right across the top of the laces from Nuhu Tolo. And it looks like he's going to be showing yellow for that challenge just seconds into this match.
That's a tough one.
And he's yelling, that's his first foul. It's his first foul. Doesn't matter. Talking about selling the foul, watch just really quickly at the beginning how the referee runs in.
People will bet against them to at least win one trophy. Nuhu coming in, and this is going to be a...
He ran to the spot of the foul to help sell his call. And then he gave the card. Let's look at one more. Same game. So maybe this gets back into, I think TJ, we're talking about game management. Maybe we're starting to call a lot of...
That Brian Spencer is capable of turning to with De La Vega, Jesus Ferreira, Paul Arriola. Some great offensive assets.
There's room for all three to come in. First yellow card going against Charlotte. It will be El Abada.
Paul Arriola. Some great offensive.
So again, reckless foul, really not thinking about the opponent there and the consequences for what you're getting ready to do. And with these, you need to give a yellow or a caution.
People.
So what about the other one, the excessive force? So at this point, you're coming in entirely too strong probably and committing this foul. So exceeding the necessary use of force and potentially endangering the safety of the opponent when making the challenge. What card is this? If we deem we have a foul with excessive force, I think this is obviously escalating. Yeah, Rose says, yeah, and Chloe, red. This is a red. So we start down there with careless, maybe a card, maybe not, depending on the foul we saw. But then once we decide we have a reckless foul, we're going to give a caution. We're going to give a yellow. Now we say we have excessive force, and that is a red card. And get ready to cringe because I have some clips. Now, the other thing I want to talk about here is Ted Uncle is going to give a card here in just a second. And he's working as part of his referee team. He thought this was a yellow. And he saw that there was a hard foul. And he ran in and he had the yellow out already. But he didn't give it. And he's talking with his team. He's talking, in this case, with the fourth official. And just watch. You can see Ted start mouthing the word red. Like, you want me to give a red for this? So let's watch. This is a good clip. think this is the one right here. This is it.
2 big goals in the second half.
Challenge from Segura. O'Brien, a little bit late, a little bit nasty. And the referee's going to go to the pocket here.
He's got it out. He's not giving it, but everyone knows the card's coming.
They've been a step off, haven't they, in midfield in the second half?
Ooh. We're watching a replay. It was initially a yellow. Yeah. It's now a red.
And it's the lunging challenge there from Lewis O'Brien. Just catches that left ankle of Yamane.
Referee just paused.
So there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, game management. Ted runs to the spot. He's got his yellow out. He's just holding it down at his waist. But remember, we're all part of the same team, right? There are 3 teams on the field, and the referee team is the 3rd team. And he's talking with his 4th official. I think this is his 4th official right here, who had a pretty good look at it. And then you see him start mouthing, red, red, red. And they went red, and we saw that endangered the safety of the opponent. Didn't look that bad in real time, but when we got to actually look at the clip, wow. And then the last part about that, notice he just held the card up. It's a red card, so this is serious, but he just held it up. It wasn't boom in your face, red card. You don't need to do that part too. So Ted did a lot of things for us in this clip. I've got 2 other clips here.
2 big goals in the second half.
Hang on. No sound on this one. And he came in with the yellow card. He ran in and came with the yellow card, and he's got it out. Okay, yellow card. We gave a yellow, but what if we are mistaken? We give the wrong color card. Can we change it? Clearly, we see we can. But let's watch this clip again and see what you think. So he's going to go check it on review, and it ends up being a red card. In the chat, did anyone notice something really similar about both of those clips? What do you think? Really similar about where the foul was committed on the body. Studs up and above the ankle. Yeah, studs up and we're above the ankle. And that's actually going to be a guidance for us in just a few minutes. You'll see. I've got one more clip. Oof. But now wait a minute. I'm going to play that clip again. He was not above the ankle. Let's watch that again, because above the ankle is part of the guidance. He came down, it looks like either right at the ankle or right, well, maybe he was. He's going toward the foot. Did we notice anything about this clip that stood out? Obviously, other than the brutality of the force on there. Something else. I'm going to play this again. Show motion doesn't slow studs up. That's true. What about... I can't... Maybe if I can stop it. He's completely airborne. Does anyone notice that? He actually is airborne. And once you're airborne, you don't have any control anymore at this point. So he comes in airborne and cleans them out. So we've kind of got two things there that we can look for now. Where the foul is committed against the player, and we saw if it's above the ankle with the studs up, yeah, we're probably going to go with a red card here. The other guidance piece that I can give you is if he comes in airborne with this much force, that's also going to probably be a red card. Now, I've got better guidance in just a second, but I wanted to show what we actually had the clip on the screen here. So let's, one more time.
The other thing, BJ, he is coming in with some speed.
That's next. Yep, exactly. Cringe-worthy tackles, though. All of these. We were watching them today, and it's like, ooh. So, oh, hang on. So, okay, to Jay's point, we're going to hit speed right here. We know what a direct kick foul is. We know how we're going to call it. We've learned how we need to sell it. How do we determine whether a foul is made with careless, reckless, or excessive force? And I have 3 more things to talk about. And the very first one, speed. The faster the player's running, the harder it is to control the challenge. In this case, in this clip, he came in with speed. He's now airborne. He can't control himself anymore. Okay, so that additional force, higher potential to endanger the safety. So speed is one of them. Force, we just talked about it. The more forceful a challenge, the higher the danger to an opponent. Changes the severity of the foul. So if you come in with more force, that might have just been a reckless foul at first, but you're coming in much stronger, that might change it to a now excessive force red card. And then the third thing, the point of contact. And we've kind of started alluding at that. What part of the body is used to commit the foul and where. So the guidance on that, if it's a simple trip, maybe the studs are down and a careless attempt to foul, okay, maybe that's careless foul. Trip, contact below the ankle, like on the foot, reckless. Trip, making a contact above the ankle, studs up or airborne, probably going to be excessive force. Now, this is specifically on trips, but you can extrapolate that out to other fouls kind of with the same guidance. And then point of contact, force, and speed will help you try to determine. And a lot of that's going to come in time. Some of them are pretty obvious, like that last one. Okay, that's no good. So in the chat, what happens if 2 offenses happen at the exact same time? What do we do as referees? Two offenses, same time. If multiple offenses occur simultaneously, we punish the more serious offense. So if we have 2 things that happen at the same time, which is worse? And that's what we're going to go with. Remember that in a minute, because I'm going to ask some questions. But what happens if 2 things occur in quick succession? So not at the same time, but in quick succession. In this case, we're going to punish both of them. So in this case, it's possible a player could come in with no yellow cards, and at the end of the play, he's sent off for 2 yellow cards, equaling a red. Got an example coming up. So, quick succession, we're going to punish both. The same time, we're going to punish the more severe thing. All right, hold on. This is the fun part now. So you're going to have to really read these questions, and we'll put it in the chat. Tell me what you think the answer will be. And these are crazy scenarios, but they're directly out of the laws of the game, the Q&A. So, the first thing. A throw-in has been properly taken. A goalkeeper within his own penalty area violently shoves the referee in order to have a clear path at the ball. What should the referee do? So here are your choices. And put in the chat, I'll give you a second to read over the choices. Put in the chat what you think, A through J to B. J, by the way, for J Martin officials. That's why we have that many choices. We do anything? Don't read into it, Addy. Yeah, he violently pushed the referee. So obviously he realizes he's there because he's violently pushing or shoving him. So I see a couple of H's. Send off the goalkeeper for violent conduct. Okay. But how do we restart this? We send the goalkeeper off. What do we do now? So I see a couple of E's, couple of C's. The yellows are the correct answers, according to FIFA. The IFAB, I should say. So the reason we wouldn't take the throw in again is because the ball has been put properly into play. So it's already done. So we actually restart with, according to FIFA or IFAB, with a penalty kick, and then the goalkeeper, it's not serious foul play, it's violent conduct. How many of you guys have had this happen at your last U12? I mean, I hear about this every week. Jay sends out another email about this type of stuff happening at U12. But now we know how to handle it. So let's look at another one. Player A25 deliberately punches his own goalie in the penalty area while the ball is being played at midfield. The referee stops play. What is the correct restart? He punches a teammate. And here are your choices. See, these are fun, aren't they? I see Rose saying D, indirect free kicks and the opponent near midfield. Zach has C, drop ball near midfield. Addie's joining him. Okay. All right, you're ready for the answer. How about that one? So it is an indirect free kick. Okay, but it's for the opponents in the penalty area where the incident took place. I have another one. Okay, so the defender from Team A recklessly tackles an opponent near the touchline and stops a promising attack for Team B. There's a buzz phrase, stops a promising attack for Team B. The referee stops play because there was no advantage for Team B. What is the correct restart and sanction? So here are our choices. So there are two things that are happening here, two key buzzword phrases in there. A defender from Team A recklessly tackles and stops a promising attack. So I see Chloe says D. Jerome C. Addie says C. Or Addie says D. So, does anyone remember a few moments ago when I said when we have simultaneous fouls, what do? We're going to punish the more serious offense. So, we have two offenses that have occurred. We have stopping a promising attack, automatic yellow, right, for stopping a promising attack, but it's a reckless tackle. And that's also a yellow. But they happen at the same time. So we're only going to give one caution here, and it's going to be for the reckless play, which is more severe than spot. So who said C? And you got it right, Zoom user. What were the odds? That's so awesome that you were named Zoom user and then we had Zoom. That is cool. All right, let's keep going. A defender commits a reckless foul, stopping a promising attack. Uh-oh, two more buzzwords again. There they are. The referee stops play, and the defender disagrees with the decision and commits an act of dissent toward the referee. So Ro is in with D. I see Addie with D. All right, good. I'm glad people are saying D because, yes, the reckless foul and stopping a promising attack happened at the same time. We know, just like in the last slide. So we know that this is going to be a yellow for the reckless foul. Okay, a caution. But after that, the defender disagrees with the call and says something negative toward the referee. That's a second yellow. So we are sending this person off. Second caution. So we have yellow. I don't have my yellow card with me. We have yellow, yellow, and then the red card. So yeah, so those of you said D, right. So again, with the questions trying to draw the distinction between simultaneous and things happening in a quick succession. Simultaneous, you're going to give one card. Quick succession, maybe two. Okay, for this one, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Hang on. There is a prize at the end of this one. Jay, you're going to have to monitor the chat to see who answers correctly first. The winner gets one of these J. Martin Officials Law 5 Retro Jackets. So we also need to make sure we get your name and size. And by the way, yeah, I know it's getting ready to be summer. It probably won't actually get to you till the fall, but you do get one. So with that and the big money at stake, let's look at this question. And I've put it up here in parts because it's one of those. The referee has awarded a throw-in for Team A. Before taking the throw-in, Team A's player, who was already off the field to take the throw-in, argues with the assistant coach of Team B. Everyone good so far? We've got a throw-in. Team A's player is now arguing with the assistant coach of Team B. Team A's player is off the field. The assistant coach of Team B has left the technical area to provoke the thrower. All right, I'll give you a second there to read all the variables here because there's one more variable after this. Okay, Team A throw in. Team A's player's off the field to take the throw. He's yapping with the Team B assistant coach. The Team B assistant coach now leaves the coach's area to provoke the thrower, and then this happens. The player strikes the assistant coach. All right, everyone ready? What's the restart? We'll talk about all the fouls after. So I see, Jay, the correct answer is a throw-in. You're right. So I think Ralph is the one I see in the chat first with the throw-in. Is that?
I'm confirming.
Okay. So I went the easy way there. What's the restart? Because we have all this stuff happening, but it's still a throw-in. The ball hasn't come back in play. So it's going to resume with a throw-in. Now, Team A is obviously not going to be, or the player from Team A is obviously not going to be taking this throw-in because he's going to be sent off. Violent conduct. The Team B assistant coach is also going to be sent off. And we can show a card to the coach, right? So I know Jay was talking about that at the beginning. So yes, the thing is, after all the smoke is cleared, the ball was out of play. So the ball comes back in the same way it would have come in any other situation. And then I guess if you think about it, are any of these fouls? They're not, because the ball, yeah, right? That's why it's violent conduct too. Right? And the ball's not in play. And if you remember way back at the beginning of this, the ball had to be in play. So yeah, okay, good job. Everyone got that right. So I think one more question. Oh, don't look it up. Guess. What law number covers fouls and misconduct? You're close, George. You're getting colder, Zach. Still cold, Chloe. Nope. Higher. 12. There you go, George. You're close. Exactly. Law 12. Fouls and misconduct. Exactly. So, funny story. And that's what I think I have on this. Yep, Law 12. We could talk about questions. And I'll tell you, back to what Jay said earlier, when we used to go to the state clinics and they were in person, when we walked in the door, they handed us a form. And it was called the 7 and 7. Because at the time, there were 7 yellow card offenses and 7 red card offenses. I said, fill it out and hand it back in. You don't pass the state clinic unless you know this. So it's important to also know the laws. And that's why that jacket's made by Law 5. Law 5 is the referee. So, questions? Thoughts and comments? So those questions that I asked, yeah, they're difficult. I mean, they don't happen, but it makes us think. And like Jay said at the beginning of this, read the laws of the game. I don't know if you can see in the bed behind me, but there's a laws of the game sitting right back over there, and I've got other ones over here. Because the weird stuff, it's all outlined in there. We do that presentation, it could happen. It just comes verbatim out of the laws of the game. So it's definitely worth it just to think about these things and how you'd handle it.
And at youth games, you see really weird stuff happening. U8, U10, U12 rec, there's stuff that happens that will make you scratch your head. Anything can happen in those games.
Well, that's all I had. I hope that was kind of fun. And hopefully we'll see you out in the field. Turn it back over, Jay. It's all yours.
Yeah. If I know Wake FC and Velocity, the classic clubs, they video many of their games. So if you're working those games and you have some questionable situations on it, you're welcome to reach out with me and I will try to get the access to those videos. I've done that in the past and they're pretty good about giving us access to them if we ask. So that's a kind of a great thing to have access to these days. I know we had 2 weeks ago in our meeting, and I can pick on them because neither one of them is here, but I had a youth player that got sent off for a no, excessive force tackle, and the referee that sent him off was also on the training call. So both of them were on the call, and the question came about, can you know, come in from the front, get ball, and still be sent off for serious foul play? And the answer is yes. And I actually got that video sent to me a few days later, and I, I was in support of the call. He came in, it was a slide tackle. The leg was swinging at the attacker's leg he was coming in from the side, but the leg was swinging in, not from the front of the player, but from behind the player. And he actually got his leg and broke his leg, actually. So even though he was coming in, yes, got ball, but speed, swinging of the leg, really hard tackle, good decision by the referee.
And Jay,
Um,
just to emphasize, show me on the laws of the game, get the ball first is written.
right, it's not.
It's not there. It's that simple. If it comes excessive force in endangering a player, too bad. You'd be sent off.
And I would also say to that point, yeah, got ball. That's always one of those ones. But the other one too is you saw in the clip with Seattle earlier. That was his first foul. Who cares?
Right.
You still did it. I mean, you don't get a freebie. I have one real quick question, Ro, before you go, or if you want to put it in the chat to me, the size of the jacket. So because we have to order it. Got it.
Medium.
I just want to add one more thing too. That's a question that comes a lot on the rec games, but also even on the classic games we get that. Is this a direct or indirect? My answer is always fouls and handballs are direct. If you don't see my arm up, is direct. If you see my arm up, is indirect. So if you practice this answer when they ask you, it will benefit the game. So again, they always ask, is this direct or indirect? And the answer is fouls and handballs are direct. If you see my arm up, is indirect. My arm's not up, is direct. So, and by the way, put your arm up when it's indirect. That's a key point here, is to protect yourself. When you put your arm up, the guy taking the shot and score a goal, it's easier to cancel that goal because that will be a goal kick. You can turn to the coach, players, etc., and say, my arm was up at all times. Was indirect. Nobody touched the ball until it crossed the goal line. So that benefit. But again, back to the answer. Is this direct or indirect? The answer is fouls or handballs are direct. All right.
I can add one thing to that. The U10 Academy games that are with Wake FC or Carolina Velocity, they have some really different rules. And I'm not talking about U10 at Holly Springs or U10 at Fuquay. The Academy games, they're called Academy, U10, U9 at Wake. There are no direct kicks in those games. They're all indirect. So if you happen to get those, reach out to me. It's really some strange, a few little strange rules that go with those games that are out of the norm.
Yeah, what I'm saying is in related to the laws of the game. Obviously, the
Right.
town has quarters and all this other stuff. So what we suggest is to read the rules and get it informed before you go to your game.
Yeah. And that reminds me, I had a couple of calls on Friday, asking for rules of certain leagues. And on J. Martin Officials, if you go to the home page, there's a link to the rules for all of the rec leagues. So Holly Springs, Fuquay, Colonial or Shepherd's Church, um, the Tri-Sports Adults, I don't think I have them up there, but I may, but I need to work on that. But all the youth rec leagues, there are links to the rules, and definitely look at them because even U10 at Holly Springs and U10 at Fuquay, they're very different. You'll look, the pay is different. The time of the games are different. So you've got, when I go out and do a U11 game or a U9 game, I have to look at those rules. It's hard to memorize them when, there's so many different leagues and levels. So please check them out. Um, Ask me if you have questions about them. I'll be glad to take calls and try to clear things up. And you can always ask the coach before the game, right? Just to confirm something if you're not sure of. Well, BJ, thanks so much for your time and putting this together and presenting it to us. 2 weeks from today, we will be face to face at Womble Park. I forget the time of that. I will send out another reminder. I definitely need to know if you're coming to that, because I will have a barbecue sandwich for everybody that comes, and I need to know how much to prepare. So that will be a face-to-face training on Sunday evening, 2 weeks from today. The other thing I can mention shortly, I will be sending out a tournament invite. Wake FC has a very large tournament the last weekend of April. The last weekend of April. So if you want to participate in that, I will need to know, and I will send out a kind of a ask if you want to work recruitment email. And I'll be making a list of those. I also have all the rec leagues going that weekend too. So if you're not comfortable with classic games or that tournament, I still have a ton of games that weekend at all levels.
Jay, I think you have one question in the chat.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. It used to be more of a problem than it is now, Ro, because all the the rules are pretty much together now with Holly Springs and Fuquay. at the U14, U15, and U17 divisions. They're all playing 35-minute halves. That used to not be the case, but that's the case now. So there's really no difference in those rules at those levels that they're interplaying. And by the way, those games are primarily during weeknights, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you want to work some of those games as ARs or as middles, they usually come in pairs. I think they're usually 6 and 7:30 Tuesday and Thursday nights. Let me know. All right.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank
Yep.
you.
And I hope to see most of you in a couple of weeks.